Hello. Today's book is a memoir. It's called Lost in Meritocracy, the, under, the Undereducation of an Overachiever by Walter Kirn. Now, I came to read this book because I like to watch Matt Taibbi and Walter Kirn doing America This Week every week because I like Matt Taibbi, and that's how I got introduced to Walter Kirn, and I like what he has to say there very much. And it's usually a very intelligent conversation and having to do with some of the political concerns of the day. And anyway, it's good stuff. So I wanted to read one of his books. He's a novelist. He wrote Up in the Air, and I believe Thumbsucker, and a couple other books that have been made into movies, which I haven't seen or read. So this one, Lost in Meritocracy, happened to be available at the library. It took a long time for it to come. I put it on my reserve, and somebody seemed to have held on to it for a very long time, which it can do now in the New York Public Library because they got rid of the fines, so you're not fined if you keep a book for a long time. I don't know how that's going to work for the library, but that's their new policy. So anyway, I got the book, and it's a slim volume. It's a memoir of really schoolboy stuff. It starts out with him in Minnesota, Montana, whatever the place. Minnesota. He's in Minnesota. His dad is a patent lawyer, and his dad went to Princeton, which is what we're going to do in this memoir. And Walter, his dad he paints his dad as being sort of a searcher who ends up working for the 3M company and doesn't really like that so much, but that's his job. And meanwhile, he keeps searching for other things, like, he takes up hunting. He buys a farm and wants to do this farm, and all these things that are kind of attempting to be off the grid while kind of being on the grid. So his dad, is written up as being a little flaky and somewhat of an alcoholic, I guess. And he went to Princeton, but he doesn't have that much to say about it, and didn't encourage Walter Kirn to go to Princeton, his alma mater. And he does talk about how his dad said, how he met a couple of guys who are the best friends of his life, and he talks about how they do get together and they come to visit Walter and his family, and the father, and that they come into town and basically they're kind of drunk all the time, or already drunk, and that's kind of the impression he has of the old college chums. So it starts out with Walter going on a bus to take the SATs in preparation for college. Walter Kirn is 61 years old now, 61 years old. He's about 11 years, 12 years younger than I am, so it's not really the world that I was so much familiar as a young man. But anyway, on the way to the SATs on the bus, they have to take a bus into a bigger town to take the SATs, and some of his friends from school are just kind of screwing off about it. Actually, they're getting drunk. They have like cherry schnapps or something, and they're passing around. They pass it to Walter, and he says, no, I don't want any, and they kind of ridiculed him for not going along and partaking, and but he's going to be taking the test seriously, and he seems to have a drive to change and get out of his circumstances in this kind of working class community in which he's found himself, which because of his dad moving around all the time. So he does very well on the test. He just kind of says he's really good at multiple choice tests. And from that, he goes to, I think it was McAllister, a local college for a little while, and then transfers to Princeton because he wants to be, in the East. He wants to be where it's happening. Of course, I am someone from Ohio, so I understand that impulse. My life was completely different. I didn't really go to college, and well, briefly, and then dropped out right away, like, within the first month or so, and ended up hitchhiking east and kind of making a oddball life in New England for a while, and then finally coming to New York when I was in my early 30s, where I've been ever since, at least for the time being. So he ends up going to Princeton, and the bulk of the book is in Princeton and what goes on there. And there it turns, he seems to lose his seriousness there. There's a lot of drug taking going on that he indulges in himself. There's it says the undereducation, but ultimately I feel that a lot of the undereducation was his own fault. He's not particularly a reader. He's majoring in poetry or something, even though he eventually becomes a journalist and novelist. He's not really, he does not really read novels and enjoy them, and educate himself in any particular way. So he talks about the dorm he's in and the rich kids in the dorm, all basically from New York. Princeton is in New Jersey, not that far from New York City. It's Ivy League University, which always, they look very imposing, these places. I've been down to Princeton maybe twice. Oh, actually, yeah. I first went to Princeton when I was on my road when I was quite young, and I met up with a high school teacher of mine. A favorite high school teacher of mine was in Princeton, teaching at a Princeton high school, and actually I turned him on to LSD there for the first time. So he quite appreciated that. So that was in 1970 or something, a long time ago. At any rate, that was my experience in Princeton, and then I went there another time for a wedding, more recently of 20 years ago, of friends of mine who happened to get married there because my friend's dad was a chaplain there for some years. So in Princeton, he talks about these rich kids and how they there's a part where they order all the a truck comes with all this luxury stuff, like a big oriental rug, so big that it covers the common space, and it's so big that it even goes over the plugs for the outlets. And a big television and some other furniture, a nice couch. And these are rich kids, and the girl is, who is the center of this, is her dad owns a nightclub in New York, and she talks about meeting this and that person, the Bee Gees or whatever, and so there's certain kind of a jealousy for that, I think, but he's repulsed by these rich kids, and matter of fact, when they bring all this stuff, they want to charge him $600 as his share in order to enjoy the common room then, and he doesn't have the money, and he refuses, and basically walks around the rug and doesn't go in there and doesn't watch the TV and just goes to his room and does his own thing with the one or two friends that he has. He then everyone goes away for Christmas or some sort of break, and he is only there with one other friend, and they end up trashing the whole place, like throwing burnt cigarettes on the floor, on the carpet, pouring wine or something into the television and frying that, kind of really trashing this luxury little thing that the rich kids have built. So then, he's sort of concerned that something's going to happen. What happened with that is he just got moved somewhere else to a better, more conducive, a kind of vegetarian, kind of more hippie house, I guess, which was more suitable to him at that time. As I said, he doesn't really have anything positive to say about the education he got at Princeton, and frankly, this is a memoir many years later. I mean, he's in his 50s, I guess, when he wrote this, or maybe a little less. So he's looking back, but at Princeton, there must have been someone who either he fell in with the wrong crowd, he's taking a lot of drugs, I just can't believe that a place like that there were not resources and something he could have gotten more out of the place. He doesn't really have that much to say about any of the professors or any of the whoever was teaching, the adjuncts, or however it was done there back then. But the whole thing is that he doesn't really have much empathy for anyone else involved with the place. Even the rich kids, I mean, he doesn't really see anything in them to empathize with and understand their positions and why they're screwed up as they are, or anyone else like that. And that kind of contrasted with a book I read recently and posted a video about it, Unlikely Disciple by Kevin Roos, which was also a sort of a fish out of water look at a school where a guy didn't really belong, and in that case it was a university student from Brown who went to Liberty University, Falwell University, and for a term or two, and but in that one he even though he was not really a Christian with the people like they are there, the kind of fundamentalist. He shows a good deal of empathy for them, and seeing their humanness, and seeing that they weren't all bad. They were just in the situation they were in, and dealt with it as they could. But we don't get that from Walter Kirn and his Lost in Meritocracy. He doesn't seem to see anything of value, and maybe Princeton is just a ruling class place filled with horrible people. I know he actually went to school with Douglas Rushkoff, who is quite a decent character as far as I'm concerned, another writer, and I've been a follower of Rushkoff for some years, but he doesn't have much to say about anything like that. It's just kind of negative. and lacking much self-criticism as to how he could have, maybe not taken so many drugs, and maybe, could have educated himself, or found the people there who could help him, and if that was anyhow available. And as I said, I can't believe that it wasn't in a big institution like that. So at the end, he doesn't know what to do. He's graduating, and he doesn't know what's next, and ends up applying for a Rhodes scholarship. Apparently, that's chosen in various states, and so he goes back to his to Minnesota, and there's a part where he is interviewed by a few people from the Rhodes Committee, and I guess one person or whatever is chosen from each state to get the Rhodes scholarship. He does not get that, fails to get that, but ultimately gets another scholarship soon after that is going to send him to Oxford, a more loose kind of scholarship. The state of some woman who kind of wanted more roguish, dashing young men, I guess, is kind of how he phrases it in here. Because it also has a wine allowance along with the tuition that he gets. So that is the end point of the book. I assume at Oxford he started getting a real education, and that was the end of his under-education. I don't know. So all in all, I didn't care for the tone of the book. I like Walter Kirn in America This Week, and liked him much more there than the person I got out of this book. But it was all quite interesting in its own way, and I think that's all I got to say about Lost in Meritocracy by Walter Kirn. Thank you for watching.